Bring in now retired Colonel Cedric Layton. He's a former Joint Chiefs of Staff Deputy Director and spent 26 years as an intelligence officer in the U.S. Air Force. Thank you very much for joining us.
You bet, Harris.
First of all, without the Pentagon putting this in context for us, you, with all of your years of experience, having been in the military, what did we just lose?
We lost a key strategic area in Iraq, and let's make no bones about it. This was a significant area because it not only controls a province as its capital, but it is also an area that controls the western approaches to Baghdad. So this is a critical loss, and it needs to be treated as such.
Why are we losing to these savages?
Harris, the reason we're losing to these savages is we are not really focused on developing a really good, coherent strategy. The reason that we are not doing that is because politically we believe that it's for some reason untenable. Well, we need to put the politics aside and we need to get in there and we need to do some things that involve what amount to combined arms operations. Special operations forces, special operations raids are great, but they're not the whole strategy. We also need to provide close air support to the Iraqis. We also need to do things that allow the Iraqis to hold the ground. We complain about the Iraqis not holding ground, but if they don't have the training, if they don't have the esprit de corps, if they don't have the understanding of what they're fighting for, they are not going to fight for it. And that's what we're confronted with right now.
The understanding of what they're fighting for. You sound a little bit like Secretary Kerry, who says, well, it's up to them, the Iraqis, to figure out how much they want this.
Well, that's interesting. We also have to figure out how much we want this. One of the things that's interesting about this is if Iraq falls to ISIS, that changes the entire dynamic of the Middle East. And we really have to think in these broad strategic terms and realize that if Iraq were to fall to ISIS, that would be a significant setback not only for the United States, but for the world as a whole. And that's something that I would argue we would really need to seek to avoid in this case.
You know what? If people are tooling around on social media today, this is one of the things we'll see. The black flag of ISIS now flying over the capital of Anbar province. It's one of Iraq's largest provinces, as we've been talking about. It seems like, and look, I know they have a PR department at the Pentagon, but it seems like they're spinning the truth a bit here. How would you actually describe what's happening?
Well, Harris, what I would say is that the Iraqis, have clearly withdrawn. Now, sometimes you withdraw for tactical reasons, and that's, there are legitimate military reasons to withdraw from an engagement like this. So ISIS is definitely in charge of central Ramadi. There are places in and around Ramadi where government forces and Shiite militias are poised to go in and battle ISIS, not only in an urban setting, but also in the outskirts of the city. So right now it's a fluid situation, but it is definitely, the balance has definitely shifted in favor of ISIS, and that is an outcome that we really can't let stand if we want to preserve the Iraqi state as it currently exists.
Real quickly, just a couple of yes or no questions. Secretary of State John Kerry says that we can get back what ISIS is taking. Do you believe him?
We can, but we have to fight for it, and we have to have a strategy to do it. We're not there yet.
Has this enemy become something that we cannot completely destroy?
We will not be able to destroy it completely until we figure out exactly how to confront them in social media. You mentioned Twitter and Facebook feeds. That's exactly where we need to fight this battle. It's a hearts and minds campaign in addition to a military campaign, and we really need to do that. We need to up the game that way.
Hitting them from the air. We knew that that couldn't be the only thing that would work. Jennifer Griffin just reported that the Pentagon now is saying that they won't change their strategy of that. Plus, we know we're leaning hard on our special forces, the Army, Navy SEALs, so on and so forth. What really will it take at this point militarily?
Well, it will take not only air power and special forces operations, but also, quite frankly, some kind of a ground force that we can rely on. That may mean Kurdish troops. That may mean an Arab army composed perhaps of Jordanian and Egyptian and Saudi soldiers, in addition to the Iraqi soldiers. It's going to take that kind of an innovative approach to really turn the tide of this battle.
Well, and we saw what our special forces did just across the border in Syria. They were able to take out a leader. Wasn't in the top 10, but anytime you can hit ISIS's or any enemy's leadership, you've dealt them a blow. They've got the wife of that person now. They'll interrogate her. Real quickly, Syria and how it plays in, because that's really where their strongholds have been.
That's right. We are, in essence, using the border, the Syrian border, as a line, whether we do military operations or not. We have to ignore the border for the time being because ISIS is ignoring the border. We have to go in there. We have to take care of business just like we did with that special operations mission. That was a good start, but it is only a start.
Colonel Layton, thank you very much. Appreciate your expertise and your time today.
You bet. Anytime, Harris.